Hello, beautiful, and welcome back. Today's episode is going to be focused on hearing, trusting, and following your intuition. If you haven't listened to the What is Intuition and Why Does It Matter, I definitely encourage you to head back to that episode so that you can be up to speed on the 4 different types of intuition before you jump into this one. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Jamie Ehrenberg with Idlewild Retreats, and this is my journey of following my intuition and becoming my truest self. I'm looking forward to continuing to share all of the experience or some of the experiences I have with you so that you have more vocabulary, perspective, examples of what this looks like in real life and how you can get more comfortable trusting and hearing and following your intuition overall. I feel like this is really important just as a foundation setting for today's episode, that as we move into this new earth or this 5D consciousness, and that'll be another conversation too, I believe that this ability to really connect with the higher self, with divinity within, is going to be so key so that we're able to live from a higher vibration, live from a higher frequency on an expanded capacity on a regular basis. Today, focusing on hearing, trusting, and following your intuition is the focus. So, hearing your intuition. We talked on the last session, the last episode, about the ways that your intuition can come in. It's through hearing, knowing, seeing, and feeling. Those are the 4 different ways, and some of them I talked a little bit about how even if you don't already practice or get that information in, that you might know this, and we'll get into this a little bit more too today. So there's not only those 4 different ways, but then there's variations of like awake time versus meditation time versus dreaming time as times that you can get that information in. There are different sources of the information, I think, as well. Ultimately, I believe we're all part of that same oneness, that same divinity, and that ends up not making it as important who's dropping the clues, but it could be really helpful, and I find it helpful and have found it helpful about who's doing that too. It could be ancestors or spirit guides or source or God. There could be different entities that are actually giving you the information that'll flavor how that's all coming in. Getting back to the actual hearing of this, again, it can be any one of those 4 types of intuition just coming in during your waking time, whether or not you're feeling things in your body as somebody says something, or words pop out as you're listening to something or watching something, or you're seeing different symbols or signs that visually are showing you that you should be paying attention or there's something here for you. That can also happen while you're dreaming. So one of the things I've heard explained about the dreaming is the dreaming state is when our bodies and our conscious mind are the most relaxed. So it's the easiest way for that information to come in if we don't allow it in already. Your dreams can still be vivid even if you are super intuitive, but if it's not something you're practicing regularly listening and trusting and following your intuition, it can be that the dream state is the easiest way for your higher self or anybody else that's trying to get messages to you to get those messages to you. So in those dreams, it could still be the same thing. You could still have those 4 different types of intuition that are really, even the sensations, can be coming in through your dreams. And so being able to, if you remember your dreams at all, just note that, did anything come in? I usually am actually, I would say over the last 9-10 months, as I've had more space in my daily life, I've really had stronger dreams that I can tell. Some of them are premonition, some of them are telling me like to check in with somebody, which has always kind of been the case for me, and others are illumination of what's happening in the day-to-day for people that might not be keeping them in a high vibration or keeping them in a really low vibration, which is, I'm starting to discern that a little bit more after some activations and connections with source and some requests that I've been given. But with the dreams, that's yeah, it's a real way that information can come in that isn't during your busy day. It's not when you're like doubting that that's even coming in, or like that information's landing in you. It's not when all the other conditioning or other life experiences that told us that might not be safe or that's really weird are coming in. The barriers are just down so much in our dream state, and so it's really a great time to be able to get those messages. Whether you're awake or asleep, I highly recommend having a journal that you keep. I've been using a journal honestly since I think I was in like 5th grade, so it's been a really long time, so I know it's easier for me to say it because it's something that I practice regularly. But even my daughter a few months ago was like, hey, do you have any like little notebooks that I could carry around with me? So if I want to sketch or some ideas come to me that I can write it down, that's an easy way to do that too. Not that for those of us who have mom bags or big purses already, another thing in the purse might not be what you want, but you can get little light notebooks that are able to be something that's easy enough for you. I actually have some of mine here. This is the journal that I'm doing all of my psychic gift development and understanding in, as well as all of the messages that are coming in through this current Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius cycle. I've got another journal here. I have a lot of journals. That is more of my spiritual practices journal, and when I do astrology webinars and what's coming through, not only what I'm hearing, but the intuitive hits that are coming through, I keep in there. So I highly recommend that, and I say that in circles, and I think I said it in the last video too. When you get the information, try to capture it somehow. It could be a note in your phone if that's easier for you. Although I do think that the writing, we know that there's research around what we write down, we remember more and it integrates more into us. I always highly recommend the handwriting, but if you're totally just a technology person, even just getting your phone out and taking a note in some place would be a good place to do it. So capturing what intuitive hits come in and what dreams, things that come through your dreams. Lastly, I'll say, and I haven't really mentioned this yet, I do believe, and I think that this is part of the new earth and like just transitioning humanity and the earth, because it's not just humans, to a higher vibration than we have been. I believe that the land is talking to us a lot more. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I talk to the trees, I hug the trees, but they give me messages too. It can be other seen entities that aren't people that are also providing those messages. And we talked about signs already, and what different symbols might be in that last episode, but there are a lot of beings. I've never talked to rocks, but people say that they hear information from rocks too. I definitely feel the energetics of crystals and stones as well, but there's so many ways that information can be coming in. So again, just being able to capture it is the first step, the hearing. The next is trusting your intuition. And I remember not too long ago at an Attunement workshop, a woman was asking, how do I start to develop that muscle? Because intuition is a practice like anything else. Nikki Renfro, who is in the Chicago area as well, that's one of the things she talks about when she helps people develop their psychic gifts, is practicing and just doing things that are easy or fun or playful are great ways to So in that Attune workshop, the woman was like, oh, I can just say, hey, I want to go to this restaurant for brunch today. And not have it to be anything big other than I have a feeling that this would be a great place to go today. And it could come in any of those different ways that intuition can come in, but that it's something easy and fun for you to practice. I have another friend actually who helped me with some of this YouTube development initially, Amanda. She did a whole, well, how do I walk around my neighborhood if my intuition is giving me the direction? Like, do I turn left? Do I turn right? Do I go straight? And it could be something as easy as that. And if I'm following something inside me to go on my morning walk or my evening walk or my lunchtime walk, where does it bring me? Where does it bring me? Just like little ways to develop that muscle of trusting your intuition. Yeah, and it's always, I think, fun to see the joy in wherever that leads you. So it could be that restaurant example that it's like, wow, I had the best cup of coffee I've ever had out at a restaurant today. And be like, wow, my intuition, that was good. Like it got me to have that cup of coffee. Or, I followed my intuition on this walk and I ended up leading or getting to this place. And wow, that was super fun. I'm really glad. I have never found this place in my neighborhood before, or around the corner from where I work and take my walk over lunch break. But there's a lot of fun that you can have with this around with building that muscle. And for me, let's see, something that's active for me right now is a couple of weeks ago, I all of a sudden was like, I haven't been specifically connecting in with my ancestors recently. I don't know this last eclipse season, so we're in September 2025 while I'm recording this. The spring eclipse season, I did a massive ancestral healing for myself and my family. And so it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that kind of a lineage kind of healing that I need. But it's almost like I need to sit in council with my ancestors because they have wisdom that they want to give me now that perhaps I wasn't ready for before. But I'll come back and share more about that. But it's like this hit that comes in and I write it down so I don't forget it. And occasionally I'm scanning through my journal. I'm like, oh, right, that came through. I need to make some time for that. And for me, because I've been practicing this for so long, I know when there's something there for me that is going to be just a beautiful gift. One of the things that is eclipse season that I love is that often we have these illuminations of these gifts, that have been lying dormant or have been waiting for the right time for us to be ready to walk into them. And I'm super curious and kind of excited about what happens when I sit down with my ancestors and actually hear what they have to say, what they want to tell me. So you can see that this is kind of a mutually reinforcing cycle of when you hear and you trust and you actually follow it, then it just keeps, like, you get more comfortable with it. It's not just how do I walk in my neighborhood, or I should call this friend today. It keeps developing. So following your intuition, I think I've kind of been getting into that too, but it's saying yes when you actually get that hit, when you get that information coming in, that connection, and saying yes to it. And I will say again, sometimes the yes is actually a no, so it's not all I'm going to do this, but it's like I shared in that first episode, milk, I don't think this is for me. And wow, was milk really not for me? And I would only figure that out like last year, how deep that milk is not for me intuitive hit was. And so that's this continual following. And I have to say, it's not always that easy. I have intentionally made a lot of space in my life. Over the last couple of years, I went from working working 5 days a week to 4 days a week, and now it's because I run my own business, it looks a lot different, but I really am working a much lighter load so that I can stay connected in all of these ways. So there's this slowing down and having some more space that's needed to be able to invite this in. Anybody who's ever worked with me before has probably heard me say, if we're clearing things, if we're trying to invite things in, we have to clear out more space. It's not that we have this endless amount of time. We don't. And we can keep taking things in, but not actually have a place for them to land internally and to integrate them. I tend to move really slow with integration of things. So if I sign up for a 12-week program, I'm probably going to do that program twice, before I feel really good with it, like if it's a recorded program. Yeah, to just take the time that I know that I need so that I am able to process and actually embody whatever it is that's coming in, that information that's coming in, or that spiritual work, or that activation, whatever it is, or that embodiment practice, that I'm actually able to hold that. Because sometimes I think we take in too much too fast. We want to do something and we say yes to it, but don't actually have the full space for it, and then it can't quite land. It's there, it's just not, it's almost like dormant or not as active as it could be because there's just not enough space for it to actually spread out and become whatever it is that it's meant to be. Yeah, I think I just want to invite you to take things slowly with this move of Uranus into Gemini. Just a few months ago, our nervous systems are a little on edge and a little bit heightened, and I don't want any of this, or I would really not like, it's not my decision, it's yours. But I don't want any of this to be overwhelming to your system, because that, again, I think that we can take in too much information and it not have anywhere to go, so it almost can like bind us up or lock us up in some ways, and then you don't have space to know what is for you and your intuition to be able to really move fully. So it can be as easy, if you want to practice this, of getting a journal and taking notes whenever something comes in, and then pick something that came in and be like, yeah, I'm going to try that out, or go for that walk, or pick that restaurant, just based on your intuition. But just encouraging you to take it easy, because I think that that's also establishing safety within your own body too. My embodiment teacher that I did my embodiment coaching with, Nada Meski, with Raindrop Movement, so much of her work is really about establishing safety in the body so that you can expand. And yeah, I think that we override so much, like we let our brains run the show, and intuition is so much about other things being able to receive as well. And I feel like embodiment and intuition are not even a dance, they're so woven together. So me practicing embodiment for 10-ish years, and then deepening into my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening, I had more tools available to me for the deepening, and then even further for my intuition, and then even further for my psychic development, or things being able to just click so much faster because I've already given my body space, all parts of my body space, to be able to feel safe with what it's telling me, and not that I'm overriding it. So with that, I really look forward to hearing in the comments below what things you're trying out with your intuition, and maybe what type of intuition you have that's your strongest, I should say, because remember, we can experience all of these, but I would love to know what you're experimenting with, what type of intuition you have, and as always, if you have more or something specific you'd like to learn more about, please let me know, then I can make a video about it, and I'd love to do that for you. All right, I want to send you so much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing if this video helped you and if you think it'll help somebody else too. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.